Yo, G, they can't stop me from rapping, can they? Can they hide? I spit it through the wire, man.
Do you miss the old Kanye? That's what this documentary, that's all this documentary is making me do. Just miss the old Kanye. But yeah, man, I think this is an interesting doc on Kanye, and I think this is probably a interesting rollout that he has going on. I'm assuming all this is leading to Donda 2. We already have the Donda 2 streaming event that happened, what was it, Tuesday or Wednesday? I'm gonna touch on that real quick, just some highlights from that, what I thought about it. I skimmed through it, but also Thru the Wire here. I really enjoyed in episode 2 how they broke that down and showed the process of making that video. That's more so in part 2, but I'm gonna also go over part 1 as well. So I'm gonna combine the two, just some quick hits. But I was initially gonna put episode 1 review out, but episode 2 is out, so I can figure I combine the two. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna turn him down just a second there. But yeah, that was Thru the Wire. But I gotta say, my favorite Kanye album is Graduation. Favorite track, Flashing Lights. But yeah, Graduation is definitely my favorite album. After that, I kind of fell off Kanye a little bit. I know a lot of people consider 808 a classic. My Dark Twisted Fantasy, when he started transitioning to those sounds. But yeah, Donda was the last album I listened to. I enjoyed Donda. I thought it was a little long. If y'all want to see my review of that, that is in episode 17 of the podcast, which Kanye so rudely interrupted. So catch the intro of that. You will get a good laugh. All my podcasts will be listed in a playlist I'll put in the description box link. But yeah, that is episode 17. So but let's go ahead and get into this, guys. It is 5:30 in the morning as I'm filming this. I meant to do this last night as I was taking down some notes, but I forgot I only had 4 hours of sleep and it caught up to me. But yeah, I'm at 5:30 in the hotel room, man. Let's get it. But I want to shoot this real quick before I head to work, so I can get this edited when I get off. Here we go. So I started off this bonus podcast by mentioning that this documentary made me just want the old Kanye back. You saw all that old footage of him. It's just such a drastic difference over what we see now, with the overemphasis, with the fashion and the Yeezys. Is that what his apparel is called? Those ugly ass shoes. But anyway, that stuff and the stuff going on with Kim K now. This is my stance on artists and music. I separate the artist from their personal life. That has nothing to do with me. Now, I'll talk about the personal life, but your personal is personal. Your artistry is your artistry. So I still listen to Kanye. I still listen to R. Kelly. Well, I don't really just go out and listen to it like that, but if R. Kelly track come on, I'm bumping it. But he may have done or did not do what he did, but he did that shit. But but anyway, yeah, so separate artists from artistry. That's my belief. The artist from personal life. So anyway, so yeah, this documentary just made me really reminisce and miss that old Kanye, the first 3 albums, or you could say 3 to 5, just depending on if you like after Graduation. But yeah, with the Yay, that album, and then Life of Pablo was cool too. I forgot about Life of Pablo. Pablo was a good, that was a dope album. But yeah, but it's just all kind of misconstrued now, just with all this controversy going on. But I guess with that, let me give my quick synopsis on the Donda 2 streaming event. It was a mess. But as far as the visuals were great. The stage, it was like the a flooded, I guess like a flooded area with this, I guess it was supposed to be a replica of his house, and then they had the cross on top of his house like it was a church. So I enjoyed the visuals. He had all those extras and stuff like in riot gear marching around him. He was, in that rain suit. I'm gonna call him Rain Man. Kanye is the new Avenger. He's called Rain Man. The rain suit, the rain boots. I got a kick out of that. There were some tracks that caught my eye. I'm not sure what's going to be on the finalized version. The first half of it was stuff that's, I guess, going to be on Donda 2. And then the second half was stuff from the original Donda. That was pretty much the second half of the streaming event. And there was I think the first song with xxxtentacion. I would have to pull up the list. Like the first couple songs, I was really feeling if he's gonna bring production like that, I was like, man, that's gonna be fire. Sci Fi was cool. Where I guess there was this kind of his dig at his divorce with Kim. And there was something else that caught my eye, but I don't have the track list right now. But I'm just kind of going off the dome. But that's just my quick thoughts on Donda 2, as far as what I thought. But, it was plagued with audio issues. I think at one point, I think it was during Guess Who's Going to Jail Tonight? I love this song. But the audio was going out and he threw his mic on the ground. But yeah, I'm pretty sure somebody got fired after that bit in the audio room or whatever. But those were my quick thoughts on Donda 2. So let's get back into this documentary here. So I'm in part 1 right now, and this thing starts off with Cootie, who is a friend of Kanye's, who started out in comedy and then somehow wound up being Kanye's life narrator as he decides to take this camera and follow him, throughout the whole process from starting as a producer and then going to eventually being a rapper and then releasing the album, the struggle he had doing that. But yeah, as far as Cootie is concerned, his upbringing, starting out from, I think, was it Channel Zero? He did a show called Channel Zero that spotlighted like Chicago artists, things like that. And he was saying the idea that sparked this doc was when Jay-Z was at the BET Awards and they were doing H to the Izzo for the first time at the BET Awards. And of course that used his, that was his beat or whatever, Kanye's beat. And yeah, so he was recognizing that because of that moment right there catapulted him to wanting to film Kanye and then go throughout his process because he saw something in him as far as how successful he can be, not only as a producer, but possibly as a rapper as well. So that's what starts this whole documentary series. So, they filmed pretty much everything on here. So I'm gonna go into some of my highlights here. So one of the first parts that stood out to me was as far as Kanye and basically his quest to becoming not only a producer, he was already a producer for Rocafella, but he also wanted to be an artist as well. But he had that struggle of becoming noticed as an artist because people wanted to keep him in that pocket. So Kanye goes to the Rocafella, the office, and he's going to each one of the, the office rooms, and he's playing his tape. It might have been a CD, but it was one of those old school, I think like those RCA or JVC radios that you probably had back in the day or whatever. So he's playing his tape for each office member, and he's just, bumping this tape throughout the Rocafella office. So you see those shades of the outspoken Kanye, the random, spontaneous Kanye that can do anything at a moment's notice. Right there. So I thought that was pretty cool how he did that. And the dude, Cootie, was following him, and you getting all this on tape. And then second highlight that I liked was Kanye and his process of sampling, of getting, a person to come in and sing a part that he wants to, and then recreating that for sample purposes. So I liked how he talked about his, his sampling process. So my second highlight, I'd probably say the Doug Infinite situation. Doug Infinite was a guy that helped Kanye to basically taught him the game as far as producing. And Doug Infinite, he made some type of diss track when Kanye started coming up as a rapper. And then once again, they have this on film, and Kanye ran down on the guy. Well, it wasn't like no street shit or nothing like that. He didn't do anything to him, but they had a conversation. And but basically, Doug Infinite felt like he was slighted in some, I think it was like an XXL interview that Kanye did, and he felt like he wasn't mentioned or something like that. But in the doc, Kanye says he does mention it, but the magazine didn't put it in the article or something like that. But I thought it was dope, how Kanye ran down on the dude or whatever. But also you get Donda West in this video, and you see the relationship between him and his mother, and they were very close. And she was into his, into whatever he was doing. It wasn't just like, oh, my son does rap, but I don't know anything about it. She's all into his career, so she knows his projects that he has going on, like his lyrics, his basically his music overall. She's very into it. So they had a very close relationship. So you can kind of see how it affected Kanye when his mother passed. So, which I'm pretty sure they're gonna get into that in the part 3 more than likely. But up to part 2, they haven't gotten to the death of his mother. And then we get the making of Jesus Walks, which initially was supposed to have Scarface in it. So I could definitely see Scarface in that song doing the chorus anyway, but he never did the song. They showed the interaction between them in the studio, but he never officially did the song. But as y'all can see, it went on to be a hit anyway. So Scarface might be like, damn, I should have got on that song. But yeah, we had that. And then it pretty much ends with Kanye finally signing with Rocafella. And then they go into the car crash, which leads into part 2. So let me go ahead and switch over to part 2. But that's pretty much my takeaways from part 1. All right, so in Act 2, titled Purpose, Kanye basically has 2 main struggles in this doc, and that's dealing with his surgery, recovering from his surgery, and at the same time trying to promote his music, because even though he's signed with Rocafella, they're still not taking him seriously at this point. And then with the car crash, that just set him back and put him, in the background. So at this point, he's having to do things on his own as far as promoting his own music, getting, basically piggybacking on other artists' studio time in order to get his album done, because the budget wasn't there as far as coming from Rocafella. They really didn't, start taking him seriously until Thru the Wire video popped off. And that was probably my favorite part of this part of the doc right here, as far as the making of Thru the Wire. So, but anyway, I don't want to get ahead of myself. Let me see where I am here. All right, so let's just start from the beginning here. As you have a young Kanye, like in a home video, something like that, and then he spins some bars or whatever. So you see from childhood that he wants to be a rapper, and then this goes into another scene where he's talking to a guy with Big Face Gary or whatever, and he's basically putting Kanye in this box right here, because he's calling him, this is the best producer rapper, and Kanye is having an issue with this, because just call me the best rapper. Why are you calling me a producer rapper? That's like, the best female MC, or, junior heavyweight, something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, just call me the best rapper. So I got, as far as Kanye's perspective, I definitely agree with that. Why are you calling me the best producer rapper? You put me in this box. So, even though people may not have meant to do that, that's basically what was happening. As far as Kanye being put in that box, and then at the same time, you had Rocafella, and the image they were putting off it didn't match Kanye. Kanye was, I guess you could consider a backpack rapper at the time, high fashion, rocking polos and, you know, all that stuff like that. And it just didn't match that street image, I guess you could say, that Rocafella put off. So there was also that issue as well. And then, you know, they get into the accident, which left, you know, his jaw broken like 3 places. And then another part of the doc that I like was when Kanye went to the dentist's office, and it's like an Asian guy. He's like, and keep in mind, Cootie is following everything with the camera. So he's like, what is he doing with that camera? So he says it's for his doc, and then he wants him to film the actual process of them taking the wires out, which I do think you see in the actual Thru the Wire video. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's where that came from. So a lot of that was like that. I forgot all those because it's been a while since I've seen the video. As far as D-Ray, you know, the comedian D-Ray Davis, and they're showing him listening to getting his reaction from the track. So that was in there. And then the lady, they were in that store. I'm not sure, if it was like a wing spot or something like that, where they ended off the first episode. And I guess, I don't know if the lady was like homeless or something like that, asking Kanye for some money. That part they put in there, I forgot about all that stuff. I'm like, okay, that's where they got that stuff from. So I thought it was amazing seeing, you know, the actual process of making that video. And then they got I forgot his name. And in the beginning of the video where they're showing the photos and stuff like that. So I never thought about how that was created. And they showed like pieces of green, like a green screen, pieces of green, like on actual square, like, you know, old school photographs or whatever. And then they, you know, basically clipped different parts of the video into that. And, you know, I thought it was pretty cool as far as the making of Thru the Wire. But anyway, we also see other moments in here as far as the making of Slow Jams. So you had the studio session with Jamie Foxx, also get an appearance from Ludacris. But other than that, I think that's about it right here. There was also a spot as Kanye, he was auditioning for Def Jam Poetry, and he uses I think it was called Self-Conscious, but you know, the lyrics go on to be, I think it's All Falls Down. So he did that show. I forgot about that show. Mos Def used to host Def Jam Poetry. He was on there, so they showed that part. I mean, other than that, most of this was basically the making of Thru the Wire and getting that video out. And then once that was out, then that's when they started pushing Kanye more and giving him the budget to do his album. But it does end off, I guess you could say, not necessarily a separation between Cootie and Kanye. There was a clip where Kanye was talking about the Jesus Walks video, and they had this little awkward conversation. I think Cootie kind of had his feelings hurt because Kanye wanted Hype Williams to do the Jesus Walks video. I'm like, you know, Kanye was like, I know you've been my man, 50 grand, all that stuff. You've been doing my videos, but I want Hype to do this. But at the end of the day, Cootie ended up doing parts of the video, if I'm not mistaken. And so that's pretty much where they end off right there. And then it goes into part 3, which is probably going to start going into, you know, the Kim K stuff, the Donda stuff, the George Bush, hates black people. You saw clips of that. So that's probably where part 3 is going to go into. The new Kanye. But yeah, I look forward to watching part 3. But yeah, y'all give me y'all thoughts on Act 1, Act 2. What do you think about Kanye in general? Where do you see Donda 2 going? But anyway, that's gonna do it for me. And I hope y'all enjoyed this vid. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. I don't think y'all heard that one. Well, she said. But anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. Make sure to drop your thoughts down in the comments below, and I'll see y'all next time.